Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. If you jump on here live here on this Wednesday evening, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Make sure to give the video a like, a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. Since it is a Wednesday, it's time for another weekly top 10 countdown. And I wanted to have some fun with this one because if you watched last week's top 10 countdown, it was the top 10 all time. I guess you could use the word best, craziest, funniest, weirdest, whatever words you would like to use for last week's top 10 countdown. It was one of those words, best names in sports. So I figured this week we'd focus on names again, but this week it's the top 10 hardest names to spell in sports. Now, some of these are close to spelled the way they're pronounced. They're just, odd names. So, it's probably a word you've never seen spelled before. But there's a couple on here that nobody could spell correctly without seeing them spelt. Now, there's only one player on here that I have never heard of, but all the rest of them I've heard of. And once you see their name spelt, if you can spell halfway decent, you can pretty much get it once you see it. But you're not going to get it right without at least seeing it. But there's a couple names on here that, especially one that all my life I've always, it's the dumbest pronounced name and the dumbest spelt name in sports. And I've known how to spell it for 30 plus years since I was in about fourth or fifth grade. And it still to this day makes sense to me. And when I see it spelt, I still say that name is not pronounced correctly. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Hey there, Austin. Glad to have you here. By the way, before I get into this week's top 10 countdown, hey there, Cobra. Glad to have you here. Let me say this Saturday, I've got the pleasure of refereeing at 305 Cherry Street in Royston, Georgia. Now, they've been doing wrestling shows there every single Friday night since 2007. Hey there, Evie. Glad to have you here. Hey there, Hunter. Glad to have you here. So they've been running wrestling shows there since 2007 on Friday nights every single week except for maybe the week of Christmas, the week of Easter, July 4th. But this Saturday, it's not one certain promotion. It's about 5 promotions. We've got, that I know of, we've got OSWA, Southern Fried Championship Wrestling, Nerd U Championship Wrestling, SCA, SWA, GCW, 1FW, and that might be it, that are all coming together to do a show where all the money, all the proceeds are going to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta because of what they do for all the sick and needy kids that are not only in Georgia but also, in the state of South Carolina. Sometimes they're from Tennessee or whatever because it might be the world's, best children's hospital. And just about everybody out there, especially if you live in the South, you know somebody who's had to put a child or grandchild, whatever, in the children's hospital in Atlanta. So we're all coming together, doing a show, and all the money is going to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. We're going to be there starting at 10 a.m. for an auction, giving away all kind of awesome stuff. But at noon Saturday is bell time, and we're doing it at noon because Saturday nights, WrestleMania. So that way, can't nobody say, well, I couldn't come because I had to watch WrestleMania. So we're starting at noon, so we'll be done by 3 o'clock. So that way, you still have plenty of time to get home and watch WrestleMania night one. So if you live in North Georgia, Northeast Georgia, or upstate South Carolina, I'd love to see you Saturday, high noon at 305 Cherry Street, where 7 or 8 wrestling promotions come together and raise money for the Children's Health Care of Atlanta. The show is called the Georgia Rumble, but it's not just a Rumble, it's a regular wrestling show. And then the Rumble is going to be the world's largest ever Rumble. But on to this week's top 10 countdown. Hardest names to spell in sports. Number 10 is Patrick Wiercioch. Number 9 is Dustin Byfuglien. Wyatt, that's a question that I wish I could answer. And according to people that I personally know that have tried tobacco, alcohol, whatever the drugs, whatever it is, they say that if you really put your heart and mind to it, you can quit, but you have to be completely dedicated. But I think out of all the weird things somebody can do, I think vaping is the dumbest. Paying $100 to suck air, which makes absolutely no sense. But in all my homeborn days, I've never tried tobacco, I've never tried drugs, and I've never tried alcohol. So I can't tell you personally how to quit because I haven't gone through that. But I know people that have quit drinking, quit smoking, stopped doing heavy drugs, and they said if you put your mind to it, you can do it. But you just have to stay dedicated to doing it, and you have to stay busy. Otherwise, you get home, you get lonely, and you want to turn back to, whatever it was that you were doing. Please do me. It is my birthday. Nobody has wished me happy birthday. I'm really lonely. One of your favorite grandmas just died, and if you could give me a shout out, please call me ZRL. Well, thank you, ZRL. Thank you so much for being here. And I try to give everybody a shout out, which is why I do most of my videos live. That way, if somebody comes on here and comments, I can, give them a shout out during the live video. But thank you so much for checking in, and happy birthday to you, ever how old you are. I hope this is the best birthday and the most prosperous birthday you've ever had. So thank you so much for stopping by. And hey there, Bee's Knees. Glad to have you here on this Wednesday night. Number 9 is Louis Oosthuizen. And numbers 7 and 6 are the two names that nobody would spell correctly without looking at them. Austin, I guess it depends on what you consider fan. His music doesn't do it for me. I can hear a song he does 1 or 2 times, and I'm done with it. So I don't get all the love for his music. His music sucks. But if you're talking about him as a person, if you start following what he's doing now for country music, and if following what he's doing as far as in the world, getting clean, losing weight, getting off drugs, that's great. But his music sucks, and his wrestling ability sucks. He should never again be in a wrestling ring. But I do appreciate what he's doing, getting clean, getting off drugs, trying to get in church, trying to follow Christ. All that stuff is great, but his wrestling stuff sucks, and his music is terrible. Number 7 is Steve Wojciechowski, and number 6 is Mike Krzyzewski. Nobody would ever spell that name right without looking at it, and I know it's supposed to be Polish, but I've never understood how Krzywski is Krzyzewski. You don't pronounce any letters in that name except the K and the I. That's it. makes 0 sense. But again, 10 through 6 is Patrick Wierkosh, Dustin Byfuglien, Louis Oosthuizen, Steve Wojciechowski, and Mike Krzyzewski. Yeah, I did, Austin, and I was on 2 podcasts earlier this week outside of my regular YouTube channel. I was on 2 different podcasts, and we talked about WrestleMania, and I said on there, on both of them, that Pat McAfee coming back is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. First of all, Pat McAfee sucks. Everything he does, he sucks at. But second of all, why would Randy Orton, who's been wrestling 46 years, who's the best wrestler ever lived, take advice and need advice from a part-time commentator that doesn't wrestle? That makes absolutely 0 sense. That's the dumbest thing WWE's done in a long time, and I just do not understand it. A lot of the storylines they're doing right now makes no sense to me. Instead of making you want to watch it, they make you not want to watch it. Number 5 is Arizbel Arubarina. Number 4 is Ndamukong Suh. Number 3 is Adini Hechavarria. And he played baseball for many years, and I think about the first 5 or 6 years he was in the league, all the commentators kept saying his name was Adini Hechavarria, so I was saying it. And then they found out it was pronounced Hechavarria. It looks like Hechavarria. Number 2 is Jared Saltalamacchia. Last name is 14 letters. It had to be written very, very small just to get on the back of his baseball jersey, and it went from his left shoulder blade all the way to his right shoulder blade. 14 letters, Jared Saltalamacchia. And number 1 is Giannis Antetokounmpo, because of the fact Giannis starts with a G, so you would never try to spell it the way it's pronounced, being that it's pronounced with a Y. And then Antetokounmpo is, of course, Greek, and unless you're familiar with that language, it's hard to spell any word that's that many letters. And I do, Austin, thank you for asking. Any thoughts on any of this, please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. A duck, a skunk, and a deer went out to eat at a fancy restaurant one night. When it came time to pay, the skunk didn't have a cent. The deer didn't have a buck, so they put it on the duck's bill. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them.